Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Dudes Watch a Movie podcast. We unfortunately have to start on some sad news. As you can see, we are down one member. Our good friend Tom, he heard the call of the fatherland, decided to pursue his dream as a dancer at a studio in Berlin.
He always was like, banking's cool, vape god cool, but what really speaks to me is interpretive dance.
And good for him. Good for him. It's
Good
2019. You should be able to do what you want, when you want, where you want. Mm-hmm. So best of luck, Tom. Enjoy the tights. I know they ride up.
Unfortunately, though, that means he did miss this movie, which was Suspiria.
Yeah. The 2018 remake.
Yep.
Amazon Studios. I have a description here. Let me just go read that. A young American dancer, Susie Bannon, arrives in 1970s Berlin to audition for the world-renowned Helena Marcos Dance Studio. I don't know why I'm Zap Brannigan all of a sudden.
It's okay. I like it. I'm down.
When she vaults to the role of lead dancer, the woman she replaces breaks down and accuses the company's female director of witchcraft. Meanwhile, an inquisitive psychotherapist, is that what he was?
I guess.
Psychotherapist. And member of the a psychotherapist and a member of the troupe uncover a dark and sinister secrets as they probe the depths of the studio's hidden underground chambers. I have a problem with that because it was not the woman she replaced that accuses them of witchcraft.
No, just another member of the troupe.
Just someone else who's like...
Also, how do you accuse someone of witchcraft but not heresy?
I don't know.
I feel like they go hand in hand.
It was post-war Germany, so who knows?
Do you have a tagline entry?
Tagline, I'm going to say dancing witches or son of a witch.
Oh,
I'll be a son of a witch.
Son of a witch.
I'll steal that from The Covenant.
Mine is just the lyrics to Hysteria by Def Leppard, but you put Suspiria right instead.
I don't think I know that one.
That's literally the only part that I can remember because fuck Def Leppard.
Yeah.
Hey, what's got 7 arms and sucks? Am I right? An amputee octopus. Hey, the actual tagline is "Obey the ritual." It seemed off to me.
A little bit.
But that's this whole movie is kind of off.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It is a artsy supernatural fantasy horror.
Hey, all you missed was mystery thriller, and you nailed them all.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I feel like you can add, you just start adding taglines. It means nothing,
True.
Right?
Yeah.
Like this is definitely a little more on the horror side than other stuff I've watched recently. Mm-hmm. Bone Tomahawk.
Dead Don't Die.
Yeah. It's a horror movie.
Not really.
It's not. No.
And while we're still in the non-spoiler section, I don't even know that I would say this was a horrifying movie. It was just an off-putting, unsettling, mildly disturbing movie.
There were some disturbing scenes, which were great.
Disorienting movie for sure.
That too.
Yeah.
Yes.
Box office, boy. Hold on, let me slip into Tom. Boy, I tell you.
boy, I tell you what.
Damn it, Bobby. This movie cost estimated, because it's an Amazon release, and Amazon and Netflix don't like to give out their stuff a whole lot. Estimated $20 million. Opening box office weekend, 184,000. Gross USA, 2.4 million. Worldwide gross, 7 point.
Oh, okay. I see. Yeah.
But like we were discussing before we started, super limited releases, and then the rest is just Amazon money from subscriptions, which technically they could say, yeah, everyone subscribed for that movie.
Yeah.
Which I don't think anyone did.
I mean, IMDb has it at 6.8 out of 10, which I would put it around there. I liked it.
It was good.
Yeah. 74% of Google users liked it, so relatively good.
Yeah.
Right.
That's a C.
Pretty good.
C. Hard C.
Probably should mention Dakota Johnson.
Mm-hmm.
I keep want to say Dakota Fanning.
Right. It's the only other famous Dakota I can think of. Famous for 50 Shades. Mm-hmm. And another movie that
and one episode of The Office.
That's what it was.
Yeah.
Kevin's replacement.
And the only other person that matters, Tilda Swinton.
And Chloe Grace Moretz.
Who was
It's Hit Girl.
Oh, she was the first one.
Yeah, she was
the first one.
Patrice.
The one that disappears.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
Spoiler.
The one that I completely forgot about because. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
She wasn't the one that got fucked up.
Overall, like, would you recommend? I would recommend it.
Yeah.
Just at least once. Like, I don't know if I'd watch it again, other than try and make more sense out of it. Because,
well, that kind of ties into my thing. I feel like it's too smart for me. It's one of those movies that I shouldn't enjoy because it's way over my head and I don't get all the symbolism, but I still enjoy it.
right.
So maybe I might go back through or watch someone's deep dive.
Yeah.
Of it.
Because I'd like to have some dots connected for me.
It's a 2.5 hour movie. So that's a lot.
Yeah, and it's super bizarre.
Did not realize that going in. So
Yeah. Let's get into it. So my topic, right, is the revival of 70s cinema. So especially after Joker, which I just went and saw this weekend, it was okay. But the big thing of that movie is it's very much a 70s style movie. They have the grain on there. They did certain, like the title card they shot on film with a blank plate behind it and then put that over just so it would have like the weird like slight blur on the ends of a 70s movie. And this movie straight out the gate was like, yes, we're going to make a 70s movie because they've got like the weird camera tilts and pans and actual physical lens zooming, which for some reason they stopped doing after the 70s. And I love it every time. It's like that almost cliche, like Hong Kong Kung Fu, like zoom. There's a bunch of other stuff too, like weird wide angle lenses and handheld, but not smooth handheld.
Weird shots too.
Yes.
Just weird, and they hold for a certain amount of time. Yeah.
They even put in some like mid scene dissolves. Like they're not changing scenes, but they're doing like the like one fades out and the other fades over it, which was super weird. And it kind of like the fantasy part is it's kind of dreamlike certain points. But I think going forward, we're finally getting out of the 80s revival. And I think between this and some other movies that I've seen, and now with the popularity of Joker, I think the next big, hey, let's all do this is let's try and capture that 70s vibe.
Once Upon a Time in Hollywood?
Yeah,
Is that a
70s?
One.
Yep. Which Tarantino's always kind of been.
Right. I guess that's, yeah.
But I think that will help. I think if I'm calling the next like craze, it's going to be that. We're going to get that for like the next 5 years. It's going to be either remakes of 70s movies or 70s inspired movies, which I'm all for because I fucking love them. They're always slower and then just get batshit at the end, which if they like this movie, like,
hey, let's just do this. Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, I love the ending.
And I think I prefer a slow movie that does get batshit crazy at the end versus a movie where they try and like pepper in action at like the standard beat points. Because like once you hit the best action scene or the scary, like the last Pulse, when the lady's walking the first time you see her, and it's like, oh fuck, that's weird, oh shit, and then they just never match that, and then it's like I'm getting disinterested.
How do you transition back? It started getting really intense, and then okay, cut away. It's like, but you just got us ramped up,
right?
So why can't we just keep going with that? But then once you start it, you can't stop it.
And it almost sets a precedence too, where you're like, oh, we're gonna get crazy, but I know you're just gonna cut away and then take us back to zero, and you're gonna keep doing that and never actually give us the full like jizz moment like this movie fucking does.
You mean Game of Thrones, The Long Night? Episode 5.
Yeah.
Every time someone's about to die,
and
cut
then
away.
They don't exactly. Which
it's false. I hate it.
So many of the people should have died, but they didn't have the balls.
Didn't have the.
Which doesn't make sense.
No balls.
It's the last season. Have the balls. Kill them.
No balls.
Fuck them. I don't know.
Plus, it sets you up on like, the precedent. You get used to it. Like, okay, every 10 minutes, action.
Yep.
Right after that, okay, joke.
Yep.
Set up, punchline.
Versus this one, like the pacing was all sorts of not all over the place, but off. Like it was, instead of your standard like pop song 4-4-4-4, it was like a weird like jazz thing where it's like, oh, now we're doing something completely fucking different. Okay. And then it hits a point where they're doing the big dance where they've got the red ropes everywhere, and I'm like, oh, this is clearly the climax, because they're like ramping up the tension with the sound and like the difference between the silence and them stomping their feet and like the cuts and the pans and getting in closer and closer and closer, and then that wasn't the climax. I was like, oh, well, that kind of sucks, because you're not going to be able
another half hour left.
And I was like, there's no way you're going to top that, because that was intense. And then they fucking did. They fucking did.
They did it.
Yeah.
Probably could have wrapped it up a bit sooner, but...
And there's a couple things that I probably would have cut out, but I think that's another one of those 70s tropes where it's like we have all these other offshoot B plot, C plot that don't... Like, the terrorist plot doesn't connect a whole lot with the meaning of the story to me.
I wonder... See, that's the thing. I was trying to figure out if that was a real event and they were just tying it in.
Yeah.
Okay.
But they come back to it so often.
Yeah. It's always in the background, so it must mean something. And then, spoilers, there's a Nazi
We're in the spoiler
in post-war
area.
Germany.
Yeah.
Okay, whatever. The doctor dude was apparently a Nazi.
Was he? I thought he was a survivor.
He had Aryan papers.
Yeah, but I think that was the papers for his wife who he was looking for, because it had her name on the inside of it.
Oh, is that it? Okay, I can't read fascist.
I only
so.
recognized her name. That was it.
Well, because he kept saying, I'm not guilty. There were a lot of bad men, but I wasn't one of them.
I think the issue was that because she mentions when they come out screaming at him and then take him in,
we're witches now.
She's like, you didn't listen to her or something about the danger, and then they took her. And I think the idea was that he was saying, oh, it'll be fine, nothing's gonna happen, and then something happened, and that's where his guilt was, because he never finds out about her.
Was she a Jew?
His wife?
Yeah. Was
I
that
think so.
it?
Yeah, I believe so.
Okay, that makes a lot more sense, because I kept thinking she was just another German lady. And it's like, yeah, why didn't you run? Berlin was falling. You knew Russia was going to fuck you over.
Right.
Why didn't you run?
And there's all sorts of like weird little history things that I feel like if I knew more about those specific ones, same with witchcraft. I feel like if I knew more about witchcraft, things would make more sense and pick up to me. Like there were certain shots that you're like, clearly this is a symbol for something, and this is a reference to something, but I don't know what.
This is what I hate about cinematic witchcraft. It's not real witchcraft, or it's a mix of ideas from real witchcraft, but it's mixed with the hysteria and the satanic panic,
right,
and all this stuff.
Which I think is what I mean by like I wish I knew more about like the cliche of like the rules of witches and cinema and art and things like that, like the rule of 3 and all that kind of stuff.
Oh, that's right. There's something. Well, first off, this is part of a trilogy.
Is it?
Well, I think it was supposed to be part of a trilogy of the 3 mothers.
Gotcha.
But the other 2 didn't come out, or they did. I'm not certain. I know that, well, so far they haven't made a sequel to this one.
Right.
The reboot, remake, sequel. Gets so confusing. Where were we? What were we saying?
Just witchcraft lore and things like
that. I do like it. I love when it's kind of like the hidden world trope in fantasy, where there's a hidden fantasy realm in plain sight of our normal world. Kind of.
Okay.
Right. It's like it's there hidden in the background. Where this is a literal, real witches performing magic in broad daylight in front of people, and they're performing this ritual in the disguise of a dance.
Right. Which I thought was interesting.
Interpretive dance, sexual energy, which is all throughout.
Which are also like witchy things, like they're always dancing around a fire or
dancing naked around a fire.
Yeah, they just do it now in front of people as
like
a
modernizing it, hiding it right in plain sight.
Yep.
Love it. That was great. Where am I? Where was I going? Eat my cunt on a plate.
Right within the first 5 minutes.
Yeah.
It was a good sentence to be like, okay, it's gonna be like a real full front kind of movie. I was like, okay.
Is that a translation error, or did she really just say that? I love it. Sexual energy. It kind of reminds me. You ever see like Lords of Salem?
Yeah, I was thinking about that a lot during this movie.
I like this one way more than that one, though.
Yeah, because it seems a bit more... It seems like it's what he wanted to make, if that makes sense. Like, he thought he was making this movie.
Yeah.
Like, there's some cool stuff in Lords of Salem, but it's not.
Salem came out 2015?
2013, 2015, somewhere in there. Yeah.
Somewhere around there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I mean, it even kind of follows the similar. I think it's the standard kind of witch coven plot, though. It's like, we got to get the new girl in.
We need
and
a new
use
sacrifice, prep her for this and that.
Right, for the ritual.
Because you thought it was going to be Satan.
Right, she was going to give birth to the Antichrist.
Which that would have been. I kind of thought that was Satan at the end there.
Oh, that's
crawling
death.
out. I'm like, is death Satan?
It is death. It's in the credits that was death.
Oh, okay.
Yep.
Okay.
But she did kind of service as the vessel, just not for Satan. She is Mother Superium, who is one of the 3 elders that they talk about.
Was she always that, or did she become that?
I think she was always that. Because there is one of those scenes where Tilda is like giving her the dreams at night, and she wakes up screaming, "I know who I am." And after that is like when she first sees them like playing with the police officer's dick with the sickle, and like she doesn't react. She just kind of thinks it's funny. And I think from that point forward, she like, I think it's almost like a Dark Phoenix, where it's locked away in the back of the brain, and then eventually
she's reborn.
Right.
Her mother does die saying she's the sin I've smeared on the world.
Right.
Okay, that makes more sense. That kind of was threw me for a loop when she's just like, "It is I who have come."
Yeah, and I was thinking about while I was taking that shit. It's just like, I'm trying to figure out at what point she became, or like if it was during the dance ritual at first. Maybe I was thinking, but
before I forget, the beats that never pick back up. The bug-eyed glass lady, the Coke bottle lady, who kills herself,
and I'm not sure what that is.
Never mentioned, never explained. Like, I for a moment there before she kills herself, I thought she was Mother Marco, like disembodied spirit just floating around because her physical body can't.
She might have been
astral projecting.
Because they do that a lot, and they definitely insinuate that she's doing that to other people.
She has a connection, because when the first puppet voodoo dance happens, and Olga gets fucking crippled, love it. She's crying and feeling it. So I took that as that's her, because her body is disabled, and even before she kills herself, they're talking about. Can she survive disease upon disease upon disease? And no one's reacting to her. She's just kind of off in the corner doing something.
Being weird, yeah.
Yeah, and no one's ever acknowledged her presence. But then she stabs herself, and then they acknowledge, like, why? What was that?
Yeah. Well, I think you're onto something about Marcos maybe using her as some sort of, like, stand-in. So that way, like, Marcos can't be walking around in her fucking current state with baby arms hanging off her and lactating nipples.
And everything lactating.
Yeah.
Everything.
Because, I mean, if that other person, like, if her witch thing is she's a channeler, then maybe she can also act as a stand-in. And then maybe that's why she kills herself. Because Marco, she's, like, trying to do some... She's being false in some way or another, or trying to like usurp power or something, because they're having that vote, and it's either Marco or
Blanc. Tilda.
Yeah.
So what I think was happening, Marco was claiming that she was Mother Superior,
which she does at the end. She says,
right?
Yeah.
And everyone's kind of believing that if she is one of them, this and that, but she's definitely the head witch, and if she falls, the coven falls. So they're doing everything they can to keep her alive, sacrifices. I think that's what, like, the urine. Because there was a lot of urine in this movie.
Yeah.
There's a lot of, they took my urine, they took my eyes, blood and whatnot. Wonder if that's like a spell or a ritual, kind of like the blood of a virgin.
Possibly, yeah. And it does seem like some of the bodies you see down there are turning decrepit, like they're taking the life force out of them and putting it into Marcos.
They're draining them, yeah.
And that's a witchcraft lore thing, too.
Yeah.
That if the leader of the house...
Stealing the youth or stealing the essence.
Well, the other thing you mentioned, where if the leader of the coven falls, the rest... Like, 'cause I feel like American Horror Story, if they killed the head witch, like the rest of them all would die or lose their power. Kind of like if you killed the vampire that turned...
Kill the head vampire, yeah.
Which
Mr. Burns is the head vampire.
Smithers. But that'd be an interesting point, because at the end, then when Superium summons Death from the pits, first thing she does is off Marco.
She kills everyone that voted for Marco
her earlier. Yeah, which you don't really see who votes for her earlier, but now they're putting the face to it.
See, I feel like I should hate that because it's beating you over the head with it. But since it was in German, we don't really learn or know any of the other characters that actually did that.
Right.
It's just literally, here's this person, Marco, and then their head explodes.
Because they give you the subtitle name of who sang it, but they don't show you who sang it, and there's so many of them that you can't piece it together, which makes me wonder if all those other people were in on Marcos' plot, or if they had been kind of tricked by Marcos. But either way, they were guilty.
I think they were tricked.
Okay.
Yeah.
Which would make sense, because I'm even Blanc seemed like up until the very end didn't really,
because she knew something was wrong. She was trying to either save, kept saying something about she's pure or she's innocent or something, and trying to save her, trying to stop the ritual,
right?
Because something
they have
was
some
wrong.
sort of connection.
Yeah.
And I wasn't sure if it's like she's been this dance instructor for so long that she sees actual talent. She's like, well, I don't want to kill the good one. But at the same time, I'm wondering if she has known about this lie that Marco has been telling, and she knows that
She definitely doesn't believe it.
right,
Because she says to short hair crop lady, I don't know her name.
Tanner.
Yes, Tanner. She says that if she was one of the three witches or three mothers, she wouldn't be in this state.
Right, she would be
So-
strong enough to.
She
not
would.
be
Yeah,
there.
we never would have gotten this bad.
And that seems like a big deal in this movie about like lying and not listening and things like that, because like that's the big thing with his wife is like, you didn't listen to her, you didn't listen to Patrice, you didn't listen to the other girl, you kept saying witchcraft wasn't real.
To be fair, he is a therapist.
Right, yeah, it's well within his character to be
Yeah.
like, you guys are, I deal with crazy people, so you're crazy.
Yeah. It isn't until Sarah comes to him, or he talks to Sarah, and then she comes back.
And now she tells him what she saw, and she has some sort of physical
The
thing.
scythe?
It's like a
Scythe?
sickle of some
Sickle?
sort. Yeah.
The weird
It's like a
needle
meat hook.
thing. Yeah. Oh. God, just seeing that.
Yeah. There was a lot of real disturbing imagery in this movie.
Oh, yeah.
Which was really nice to see. Which is it's weird
Yeah.
to say that I was happy to see something that was fucking hard to look at.
I was kind of spoiled on this because a couple years back I had watched Red Letter Media's review
Of the original one.
of both when this one came out,
Okay.
and then they did the original. So I knew Olga's crippling dance thing was coming.
Okay.
I thought that was gonna be way worse.
They draw it out
Yeah.
a lot.
Yeah.
They are not afraid to hold on the weirdness.
I kind of liked, while watching it, it was like, this is too much, and like, and then it goes back, they're fine, it's like, again, and then she's still alive. Ugh.
And they're really good at like building. Like they don't go for the worst thing right out of the gate. It starts out just like, oh, her arm looks like it's breaking. Oh, now it's all the way over there. Oh, and now her
And the
hip's doing it.
ribs,
And her
and then-
ribs. And now she's peeing. And now she's oozing out of her mouth. And she's like all exercised over. And I'm just like, oh, okay. We can end this anytime now, please.
This is why you gotta stretch, kids.
For real.
Stretching is so important.
I'm still not 100% sure what the point was. Like
Of the movie entirely?
of just the, yeah, pretty much, yeah.
So am I. I want to go watch something, but I don't want to be told. But I also don't want to rewatch the movie.
I almost just want some sort of basis to go off of, though. And like mostly, I want to know what's going on with the terrorist plot, and I want to know what the purpose of Superior. It's almost like a weird, like it's an abstract message or theme or something, which I'm okay with, but it's just odd.
It is also the first of the trilogy.
But I don't even know like where you go from there.
Right.
Like
Like,
unless you're
what
bringing in the other
else?
three elders. And at which point, what's the elder's purpose of wanting to be here?
To feed off of grief and shame.
That's true. They did say that.
But not yours.
But also, though, the elder witch, Suspiria, relinquished him from his grief and shame. So it's like,
So she's not utterly evil.
right, it's like they're judging people based on their actions.
I wonder if that ties back into the whole Nazi survivor guilt. Because I do recall from the review that I watched that the whole Berlin Wall thing is prevalent.
Yeah,
because it's right there on the
right
edge, and then they're looking out over it. That's a metaphor for something. I'm too stupid to know what, but there it's there.
Huh. It's almost like they're just trying to ignore the eastern side, which is the evil side. And that might also tie in maybe to the terrorist plot, because that's the whole thing. Like, it's the German forces and then Palestinian forces,
RAF.
terrorists. I think they're Palestinian. And that whole thing could be deconstructed into, well, they're calling them terrorists, but those terrorists could also think they're like freedom fighters, and they're trying to save their brethren who these other bad people have taken.
You could say that with any revolutionary force.
Yeah, and
it's okay because we're the good guys.
I'm just trying to figure out how, like, what the purpose of the terrorism plot is. It makes sense to get the like explanation for Patrice disappearing, like saying that she was one of the revolutionists and she was gonna go like join the cause or whatever. But they keep coming back to it, and you keep seeing like newspaper clippings saying like terrorists, or like magazines, and the news keeps playing. And I kept expecting it to come back to the witches somehow, which it never does. So that's the biggest thing that I want answered, is what is the connection with the terrorism?
He does, when he's reading the journal, Yosef, when he's reading the journal, and he's saying that, oh yeah, Patricia mentions that the structure is built almost like a terrorist cell. So I don't. That's what I remember hearing.
Like the way that they recruit people, kind of.
Maybe like just the way they operate inside. There is a hierarchy.
Yeah.
I don't know if that was, like you said, a connection, or if that was just this is what I think's happening. Oh no, they're actually witches. Oh shit, I have to run. Which gives
him another reason to think that they aren't witches, potentially. Because if you think about it, I guess it is a similar recruitment where they tell you one thing, like, hey, we're doing really good stuff here and you're gonna make a difference, and then you get there and then you're just one of the other girls. The only difference is they actually take an extensive liking to Susan. I'm just gonna call her
Susan.
Ohio. Yeah,
the Ohio Mennonite who went to Berlin, which is run by an Italian French dance instructor.
It was very odd, very multicultural.
Very diverse.
Right. This is a really breathy movie too. And not like everyone talks in breaths, but like there's just a lot of panting and breathing, and like they use it to build tension at certain points. That was something I really liked just straight out the gate. Like when they have her do her audition dance, and it's really quiet, but every step she takes is like super fucking loud. Yeah. And then she does that weird movement backwards, and it's like, okay, this is gonna be a weird movie. It's gonna be a bit disturbing.
I really like the dancing.
You know, I did too.
I don't understand interpretive dance, but that was good.
I think I kind of got the one at the end with the red stuff, because it almost seemed more like a what is it, a haka, like the Polynesian like war dance thing, where they're all doing it in a rhythm. It seemed very aggressive,
rhythmic,
right,
primal.
But it reminded me a lot of Black Swan, which is another movie about like interpretive dance that is also like a weird thriller horror type thing going on with a lot of psychology things. And
lesbian kissing scenes.
And I was like, this movie's really fucking good too. Never in my life would I ever want to go see an actual interpretive dance, but if you put it in weird movies, I'm all for it.
It's symbology.
What's the symbology here?
This movie also kind of reminds me of Birdman.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's because it's a theatrical thing on screen, but also at the very end, when Tilda Swinton's third character, Mother Marco, is like, "Who are you? You can finally understand me because the music stopped finally." Because couldn't understand a word she was saying.
Her jaw was half on.
That too. The prosthetics does not help. First off, talk about that. She's playing herself, Blanc,
right,
and then Yosef, the dude therapist, and then also Mother Marco.
I hope she got paid 3 times.
Why?
Right.
Why is she in this movie 3 times? Maybe she didn't get paid, and it was in the contract. You have to play every role we assign you, and they just want to get their money's worth.
And the weirdest part about those 3 roles is they're the most antagonistic towards each other. Because Yosef is trying to take down the Coven. Marco and Blanc are also having the power struggle.
Right.
So it's weird that she's constantly like playing a character that's struggling against another character that she's playing.
She's the main antagonist. She's the main kind of a protagonist. And then she's also Blanc, she's in like 90% of this movie.
Right, and she's almost like the neither. She's just the participant somehow. Like she doesn't give off this vibe that she's an evil witch, like trying to like destroy these people or anything like that. And she seems to legitimately care about Ohio, not the state, the person. No one cares about the state. Which I don't know. It's a weird dichotomy of playing those characters, which I think she did a really fucking good job, other than her voice of Joseph. Like,
other than her hands, her voice
was the big
gives
giveaway.
it away.
Yeah.
The prosthetic is pretty good up until you start noticing the voice and the slight mismatch in the lips. I couldn't get over it after that.
Yeah, and as soon as you mentioned it, it's like, yeah, you're right. It reminds me of, so Ghost has a really like, not photorealistic, but like really detailed, realistic mask that their singer wears. But when he sings, the mouth just doesn't move the way an actual mouth does. It doesn't have the same articulation. And it seemed like the prosthetics were doing the same thing, where it seemed like the words she was saying should have a lot of mouth movement for the different consonants and vowels, but it wasn't really moving all that much. You know what I'm saying?
Especially when she's speaking German.
Yes.
It's like, well, your mouth is moving, but you're not making the right...
Like, it doesn't match up at all. And that reminds me, Patrice in the beginning goes back and forth between speaking German and speaking English, and it almost sounds like 2 different voices. Like they had someone else come in and do the German one, which at that point, I don't understand why it wasn't just all in German or all in English.
Yeah.
I don't get the back and forth, unless there's something going on with mirrors in this movie too. Like there's a whole lot of, not just in the one room where there's mirrors everywhere, but there's a lot of other shots where it like starts in the mirror and then like pans over and shows what's really happening.
Until it fades into or from a reverse mirror. Yeah.
And I'm not sure like what necessarily that's supposed to be. If it's like reflection of, or if it's supposed to be like, because a mirror, you see something that isn't really there. Because it's not physical, it's just the reflection. So I don't know if that's supposed to be some sort of deception metaphor or what's going on, but there's definitely something with mirrors. The big thing that I was kind of let down by is I always heard the first Suspiria, the big, like, the thing I always heard the most about was how colorful it was, like bathed in reds and blues and greens. This movie did not really do that. In the end, it was really red, but I expected it to be like just a really like overly colorful, saturated movie, which it was very much the opposite. It was very drab.
Weird that for all the 70s inspirations they take and all the rest, all the pan shots and angles and whatnot, they didn't go with the color scheme as well.
And it's like, I couldn't stop saying it. It's set in 1977, but it looks like it's still during the height of World War II. Like, it's crazy.
Yeah.
And then they showed that one shot of like the
very modern looking
the
train.
Power lines and the train go by, and I was like, are we in the present time now? Oh wait, no, I forgot, it's actually 1977. They had those fucking things. That's how, I guess, maybe that's another thing, how behind the times certain areas of like Berlin were. I don't know.
I'm not very well versed on that. Before I forget, the whole Birdman thing, when Mother Blanc's like, who are you, she goes right into theatrical I am she who was promised speech.
Right.
So I'm like, is this still part of the performance? Kind of felt like, again, a play within a movie. Right. Or the way you're watching it. Like, this could be easily translated to a play.
And that's kind of something that Joseph clues you in towards, too. Because when he goes back to the cops to see what they found out when they went there, they're like, yeah, we didn't find anything. He's like, well, they're performers.
Yeah. They know how to hide things.
So at that point, I mean, we already know not to trust them because we know that they're witches, but as a viewer, unless you're operating on that big brain energy on a whole nother level, you wouldn't, like, it didn't appear, like, to me to take that as don't trust what you're being told about the witches that you're seeing, which I thought was interesting on reflection.
Pay attention to the details. Wu-Tang Clan out. What's your what the fuck moment?
My what the fuck moment was the lactating witch.
Ooh.
This was not an easy pick because there was a lot of them where I was just like, what the fuck was
They
that?
gotta be interchangeable.
Because every dream sequence could have easily been a what the fuck, where they're just like bombarding you with weird imagery and like you're trying to piece together what the fuck you saw and what it means. But no, it was the lactating witch, because it's just like, why is that happening?
I didn't notice that child hand curling
Until
out of her
afterwards,
arm until
yeah.
you said, why? Why? What the fuck?
Like that, whoever did the actual like character designs and special effects, because it did seem all like practical.
Yeah.
Super fucking good job.
Oh, yeah.
Great designs. Death was fucking awesome.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. I want that as a screensaver or as a background, just it crawling out.
What was your what the fuck?
Total Sweatin', 3 rolls.
3 rolls.
Why?
Yeah, a meta what the fuck.
Fucking why?
You know, other movies and other actors, I would have been upset. But somehow she pulled. I don't even like Tilda Swinton that much, but
Yeah.
she pulled it off. Because at some point I stopped seeing Joseph as Tilda Swinton, and I mean it's mostly due to the prosthetic work. But I fucking great job.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, great job. I'm not complaining. It's just why?
Yeah, like what the actual reasoning behind
Like,
it was.
why would you even accept 3 roles in the movie? I can see her also doing Marco, because she's not there very often.
Right.
She's there for, 5 minutes, if that, and then dies.
And I want to know the purpose behind why they wanted to cast someone to play 3 roles instead of like, yeah, that's it. That's really why it's weird.
It would have been, I don't know, maybe.
Right? Unless that's
saving
another one of
money?
those meanings that we're not getting.
Yeah.
Yet.
The antagonist and the protagonist are the same person.
Reflections.
But also the it's good, evil, and neutral.
I was waiting for her to also play Joseph's wife.
That would have been great.
I was just the rest of the movie. I was like, "Is that her?"
It's every character. Yeah. Every character. Take that.
Eddie Murphy.
No, the other guy that always does. Eddie Murphy was Big Mama, right?
No, Eddie Murphy.
Tyler Perry.
Oh, okay.
He does that, right? He does other characters.
He's Medea, but yeah, he does.
Yeah.
And then Big Mama was Lawrence.
Oh, not Taylor.
No, that's a football player. Martin Lawrence.
There you go.
And then Eddie Murphy is the Clumps,
Donkey?
like the Nutty Professor.
That's okay. That's a weird genre.
It is. And it's weird that they were just like, we want black comedians to play multiple people. I assume it started with Nutty Professor, and then they're like, let's try it with other people.
Yeah.
And I think Medea started as a play, which would make more sense because in a stage setting to play multiple characters is not that odd versus
a movie. Yeah.
My favorite scene, 100%, when Death arrives and just starts finger gunning people's heads explode. And I also like that Death starts out so personal, like actually like kissing people to blow their heads, and then by the end of it, when they're all the people who are voting for Marcos, she's just like, yeah, you die, and you die, and you die too.
God, you're right. The design of Death was amazing.
It was
just
I can't figure out what it was reminiscent of. Kind of like the Creeper from Jeepers Creeper.
the long fingers, yeah.
Right. But the face, I feel like was it Sinister maybe?
Ooh, that might be where it's from, yeah.
Where it's like got a lot of like you can
Almost
see
like
the
a
skull
mask.
the skull structure and the eye sockets, but then like the mouth is all like weird like mesh, like it's not a mouth.
Yeah. I was getting a little bit of the Ring with the hair,
Mm-hmm.
although this was like drenched in blood. I love it. Yeah, you're right. It's really hard to decide. There are so many great scenes that could be what the fuck moments or best scenes. I'm gonna go with the puppet dance.
Yeah.
When it first starts.
Yeah.
And she's just like freaking out, and then it's just a crippled, bleeding, bloody, pissing mess.
I want to know how they did that so bad. I this is available on home medias, so I kind of want to go buy it. Just like this is a movie I want to see special features for, because I want to know like if they got one of those body contortionists that could do that, or if it's like a mixture of like prosthetics and a contortionist, because that
Looked really
was a
good.
pretzel. Like,
Very, very unsettling.
yeah.
More so than the needle on the dick.
Yeah.
To which you were like, oh God, please no, please don't. No.
That was more unsettling just from a personal level.
I mean, yeah.
I was like, stop it. Get
Yeah.
away from my dick with that. I was waiting for her to like put it in the tip. I was like, no.
Like, like a sounding.
Oh God. So MVP is mine was Tilda Swinton.
Yeah.
The only other one I was thinking costume / set designer or the director of it, whose name I can't remember, and it's also hard to pronounce.
Oh yeah, it's like Giuliano.
Right.
Giuliano. I'll look it up. You vamp.
I would, but Tilda Swinton, I think, is the only actual possible choice, just for the amount of work and effort she put into this. She plays different characters. She speaks multiple languages. All the characters are insanely different. Like we were talking about how, like, just her mannerisms of the way when she's Joseph and she walks around, like she moves like an old man.
Again, back to the stage thing. That's very much a stage. Oh my God.
Right? Yeah.
Very much a stage movement of exaggerated.
Because we don't want reality
emotions.
in our media. We want enough of the caricature so that it's recognizable without being one particular thing, which I think is where some people get lost. They're like, I'm going to mimic this one very particular person. But then, like, unless you know what that person and their movements are like, then it doesn't translate. You're just like, what's going on with that? What is this? Versus she had just enough of like, hey, that's everything you think about for an old man. Good job.
Oh yeah, she's the only logical choice. I was gonna say Bug Lady or Bug-Eyed Lady, just because. Why are you standing in the corner? Oh, and then she runs. Like,
Runs away.
Why?
Yeah.
Why? Why did you kill yourself?
Her only job was to just leer at people from the shadows, and I'm not sure she could see him because she had those Coke bottle glasses. Like, it was crazy.
Binoculars. Had a head look in.
You know what was really cool? Having a good movie finally.
I know, right?
There were
You know
things
what
to
was
talk
not
about.
cool? Going through my whole list of movies. This was my first choice because I'm like, I've always wanted to see it. I better switch around though. And it's like Bone Tomahawk, the Halloween Christmas, a Christmas Horror Story, which had William Shatner in it.
Oh,
So that was kind of cool. That was terrible. Like 5 other bad ones. I bought a Netflix account just to watch Autopsy of Jane Doe.
which I hear everyone talk about. Is it any worth it?
Eh.
Oh, great.
I'm glad we chose this one over it.
Okay.
Uh,
So did you watch these other ones to like screen them first?
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I didn't want to have another Bloodfest situation on my hands.
Yeah, that's a good call. And I think
So,
going forward, I might implement that same strategy. When I pick a movie, if I haven't seen it, maybe I'll watch a little bit first just to make sure it's on the up and up. Because, man, those last 2 episodes were fucking rough.
Oh, and Pulse. I watched the American Pulse.
Better,
Better because I could understand it.
but still not great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No. I was going to bring red tape, too, to keep the ghosts out.
Oh,
but,
nice.
I didn't, so we're going to die. So, yeah, that was Suspiria.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I gave
We
it
got next week.
Dos Thumos. Yes. Also, that's probably not Spanish, as we can tell.
Dos Thumos.
Yeah. John Stamos. I'm not sure what I'm even going to do for the next one. I kind of want to keep the horror thing going, but it'll come out the day after Halloween.
Yeah, there's no
Which
rules.
seems like the perfect time to watch Halloween 2018,
Is that the remake?
the newest one, by Danny McBride.
Oh.
And it's one I've
This
seen,
is the
so I
one that
know it's good.
continues
From Halloween, the original Halloween, and ignores everything else.
ignores literally everything else
Everything
and the
else.
remake. Awesome.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm down for
Because
that.
I like the idea that we're always behind things.
One step late.
Sick.
Okay.
Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time with Halloween, the day after Halloween.
I'm your boogeyman, and I'm here to do whatever I can, here to please you.
Mr. Sandman,
Something squeeze.
bring me a dream. I think that's the Halloween song, isn't
Yeah,
it? The one
yeah,
they
yeah.
use in all the movies?
Yeah, totally.
All the old ones.
Yeah, I'll go for that. That was a pretty good movie, though.